Hello, and welcome to In the Midst of Everything. I'm Esther Brooks, and right now I'm inside my house where every time that I've made an episode, I've been outside because I really love to be outside. It's really nice. But today it is -8 degrees outside right now. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay inside today. But as you can see, we have a lovely view out this window of winter. Today I wanted to talk about looking back on this past year of 2025 and then talking about things I want to work on this year. So I've written a bunch of stuff down. I wanted to have a bit more of to really think about it more. What happened this past year? A lot. Some things that happened this past year. And a lot of stuff happened last year, but this is, summing it up, I guess. I don't know. Here's a cat. Okay, you can stop that. Tallulah. But just an overview. Okay, stop that. Okay, I went to a couple of different dances. I did a lot of preparing for the podcast. I bought a car. I went to Georgia and visited my sister Jewel and Catherine. I spent time with friends and further deepened relationships. I did announcing for a horse show, sang with friends, officially started the podcast, went to Cuba, got a tattoo, which I don't know if in this lighting you can really see, but yeah. Went to more dances. I sang more with friends. I learned how to harmonize both the melody parts and harmony parts. I spent a lot of time with God in His Word, talking with Him wherever I was, at work, at home, in my car, anywhere. I went on adventures with Him. A lot of fun things, a lot of hard things. I read back through my journal of last year and found myself telling God multiple times that I felt like I was barely hanging on and didn't know what was happening. But through it all, God was with me in it. Yes, you are really distracting.
You're really distracting.
December 30th, 2025. Thank you, God, when I can't do things in my own strength, because that causes me to have to lean on you. It humbles me and kills my pride. It strengthens my faith and trust in you. It causes me to have to rely on you more. Last Sunday, I had a full day. I went to church in the morning. In the afternoon, we went and sang Christmas carols at 2 different nursing homes. And then we went to a friend's house and had a party. We practiced some dances for the dance that we are going to have this Saturday. The thing is, I felt terrible the entire day. I felt fatigued and lightheaded the whole day, and at some point gained a big ol' headache. It was hard for me to do anything, especially sing and dance, the 2 main things that we did that day. Those are also 2 big things that I love to do. So it was really frustrating, especially since I have been experiencing feeling fatigued and lightheaded for pretty much the entire month. When we were driving home that night, I was sitting in the back of the car, still feeling absolutely horrible and in pain. I started crying, not because of the pain, for I was also smiling, but because I knew that the one thing I truly needed and that truly mattered, I had. And nothing and nobody could take that away from me. That thing is my God. Knowing that He has my back no matter the circumstance or how I feel. He will never leave me nor forsake me. In the midst of everything, God was constant. He was unchanging. He was the one I could lean on, I could rely on. He was always there, no matter how I felt. So, it is a new year. A big thing that I want to work on this year is resting. Resting at work. I love that I like to work hard. But the past month of December especially showed me that I don't know how to rest. My body was pulling all the stops, giving any and every kind of signal that it could to get my attention. I felt tired, exhausted, and fatigued all the time. I felt hungry all the time, but had no appetite. I first got a job at 17, and over the years, I developed unstable and inconsistent eating habits. I have a job now where I can stop and eat any time. But when I feel hungry, I think, oh, I will finish this and then I will eat. But when I finish what I am doing, I'll be like, oh, I can do this other thing as well, and then I will eat. And somehow it is hours later and I still haven't eaten. And then when I finally go to eat, I start multitasking while I am trying to get my food ready to eat, instead of setting everything else aside and just focusing on eating. So what I am starting to implement is making sure I have enough food for the amount of time that I am going to work. Stopping working when I feel hungry and go eat, and not doing anything else but sitting down and eating. What's up, baby? What's up? Resting in God's presence. I don't know how to rest in God's presence. I have done it a little bit, but not very much. Not doing anything, not looking at anything, not listening to anything. Just sitting in His presence. Who am I when I am not doing anything? What does it mean to be God's daughter? What does it look like to just sit at His feet? To sit in silence and focus my mind on Him. To ask Him what He thinks. To listen. This can definitely feel like so much work. It takes discipline and practice, but it is worth it. The other night I was coming home from work and I thought, I get to go home and just rest in His presence. It felt like such a relief. I have a couple of different scriptures that talk about resting. The first one is Genesis 2:2-3. By the seventh day, God had finished the work He had been doing. So on the seventh day, He rested from all His work. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it He rested from all the work of creating that He had done. So basically the context of this verse, 2 verses actually, is that zoom out, chapter 1 is talking about God creating everything. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There are days that He creates different things. And so then, on the seventh day, when God had finished all that He had been doing and creating, He rested from all of His work. And He didn't need to rest because He's God. Quit that. But we can take that as an example because we are human and we do need to rest. We can't just keep going. We're not immortal. We have limitations. Okay, then we have another one. It's in Luke chapter 10, verses 38-42. Okay. As Jesus and His disciples were on their way, He came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to Him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what He said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to Him and asked, "Lord, don't You care that my sister has left me to do the work all by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, You are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So, context. Jesus and his disciples came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to Jesus and his disciples, which in other passages you find out that Mary and Martha are sisters of Lazarus, who is a friend of Jesus's. So, like, they came in, whatnot, and Jesus started speaking. And Martha's sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet and was listening to what Jesus was saying, while Martha was, being a good host and, preparing probably food and, making sure everyone had stuff to drink and all that such. So that wasn't a bad thing that she was doing that. But, she was distracted from the fact that Jesus was there and he was speaking and wanting to spend time with them and with her. So Martha came to Jesus and said, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work all by myself? Tell her to help me." So yeah, Martha saw that her sister was not helping her host. And so she's like, "Jesus, could you, tell your sister to help me, please?" And so then Jesus answered her, saying, "Martha, Martha," which there are only a couple of times when a name is said twice in the Bible. So, when Moses had fled Egypt because he murdered an Egyptian, and he found Midianites, and then he married a Midianite, and then he was tending his father-in-law's sheep, and he'd been doing that for a very long time. And then as he's shepherding these sheep, he comes upon this bush, and it's on fire, and it's not burning up. So he goes over by it, and you know what he hears? He hears, "Stop that." "Yeah, I know. She wants attention. I tried letting her out of the room. She doesn't want to. A voice comes out of the bush, and it says, "Moses, Moses," twice. And then Moses is like, "Here I am." And then God tells him, summing up, but he tells him, "I want you to go back to Egypt and set my people free." And then other times are Abraham and Jacob and Samuel and Simon Peter, and then also Saul. So Jesus then says, "You are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." So Martha was, worried and upset about a lot of stuff, and she was distracted in, being a good host, where in fact the most important thing was that Jesus was there, and he wanted to spend time with her. And Mary had chosen to sit with Jesus and to listen and spend time with him. And I definitely struggle with feeling like I need to do stuff for God, or I want to do stuff for God, where then I am not prioritizing. Stop that. I am prioritizing doing things for God over spending time with him. And so, clearly here, Jesus said that Mary has chosen what is better, which is spending time with Jesus. Another passage, whatever you want to call it, it's in Matthew 11:28 through 30. Whoops, too far. I'm in 12. I'm like, this isn't it. I'm reading, "But if I drive out demons by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you." I'm like, huh? That's not it. Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus is speaking here, and he is saying, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And then we have a psalm that, I also found. Psalm 62. Psalm 62, 1-2. It says, for the director of music, for Jeduthun, a psalm of David. If I'm not mistaken, that sounds like David wrote it for Jeduthun, the director of music. That's what it sounds like from what that says. It says, my soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. This is the... Whoa. Ow! You're fine. She's not fine, evidently. This is the culprit that's been running around the room. Her name's Tallulah. She's silly. Yeah, you are. My mind really doesn't want to work right now. It doesn't want to really think. So I hope this was encouraging in some way. For you to look back on the past year and remember what happened and to take things and be like, okay, I can definitely work on that. To grow and, I don't know. I guess if anything that you take from this is maybe to look and see if maybe you need to practice resting more. And it's like, yes, you can do things like, just sit on the couch, watch TV, be on your phone, listen to music. But for me, a lot of times I still don't fully feel rested after I do those things. And the only times I fully feel rested are after I've spent time in God's presence and in his word. Just spent time with him, talking with him. Getting things off my chest and giving him my worries and my thoughts. See, now she's just sitting here. This is all she wanted was some petting and some attention. Yeah, you silly kitty. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to finish this episode because I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, there's definitely thoughts inside my head I could probably... but right now there's nothing. I don't know. So, goodbye. Goodbye. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that